Hey, welcome back to Return of the Son of the Revenge of Murder Doors, Part 2, The Squeakquel, Electric Boogaloo. I'm your host, Ray Charles. No, that's totally incorrect. I'm Don. It's late. I'm up. Hi. Tonight we're going to be watching the John Carpenter, Roddy Piper joint, They Live. But if you clicked on the thumbnail, you probably already know that. What a good movie. What a good movie, right? Right. So I thought we would watch this tonight and enjoy it because we watched Big Trouble in Little China the other night, and boy, was it good. So I'm a Carpenter head. He hits home runs with me about 75% of the time. Hey, our friend Have Cheetah Will View is here. Welcome, Patrick. Nice to see you. Welcome, welcome. He always hoots me. Hoot hoot. Rawr, rawr. Is that a cheetah noise? I don't know. Anyways, yeah, so I thought we would do the old 1:30 a.m. showing of They Live. You know, that old gag. Not again. So this time we're going to be watching it on Tubi. I like when it's free and everybody can watch it. So it bounces around, it comes and goes from Tubi, but this time it's there. So let's watch it, right? I've got it all queued up, so I thought we would get going early. Let's see how long it is. It's an hour and 35 minutes, right? That's not bad. So I figure we'll kind of do what we did last night with room 237. We'll start around 1:30, get out before 3, right? That sounds good. Yeah, sure. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and press play now and see if we can hustle through this. You know what? Tubi's commercials are going to make this past 3. I'm going to be up for a minute. But you boys on one. Let's watch it. So I pressed play and it already started. So I'm apparently exempt on the first commercial. That's always cool. That means they're going to hit me with commercials later, right? Right. So this is a Universal MCA company production. Carpenter got sick of working with studios, especially after Big Trouble in Little China. They say he swore off studios after that, but he did a bunch of stuff that looks like studio films to me, like Chevy Chase and the Invisible Man, whatever the hell it was called, Memoirs of an Invisible Man. And there's the title, John Carpenter's They Live. Carpenter, I've mentioned before, is an above the title director. I said this during Big Trouble. Some directors are brands, Alfred Hitchcock, Steven Spielberg, M. Night Shyamalan. If you hear that, you see that name above a title, the title's almost irrelevant. It's like, oh, it's one of those movies. That's how John Carpenter is. If you see John Carpenter's whatever, you know what it's going to be. Same with Wes Craven, So it's a brand. So the John Carpenter brand is strong at this point with me. This one stars what Carpenter thought would be an unknown actor, which is WWF at the time wrestling star Roddy Piper. This is his first appearance. He's walking across the railroad tracks. That kind of heavy-handed right there. He's literally from the other side of the tracks. Like he's kind of, you see, he's a drifter and he's broke, right? Lots of good cinematography though here. Real good deep focus. I think this is probably Dean Cundy again. But anyway, so he cast Roddy Piper, and he thinking that would be an unknown, right? And he wanted an actiony guy who looked beefy, but he didn't particularly want the usual Bruce Willis or whoever, right? So especially since he was doing this independent, he cast Piper, and Piper took a break from wrestling and went away. He actually retired, and he went away and came back later on and was in WrestleMania 3, maybe? I don't know. Triumphant Return. But the thing with Piper is the first time I ever saw him is when I was a kid on the playground, I don't know, 2nd, 3rd grade, maybe. They were talking about how in Rocky 3, there's the big guy, Thunder Lips, the wrestler, right? Mr. T is going to fight that guy at some wrestling event. And I was like, what? And I didn't understand what they were talking about. And of course, that's childhood playground talk. So really what it was is Hulk Hogan and Mr. T were teaming up against Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff, and Roddy Piper, right? So that's the first time I ever saw Piper, and he put on a huge show. He saved that whole match. Mr. T sucked at wrestling. So Roddy Piper was like the whole engine of everything that ran it, right? So then in WrestleMania 2, Roddy Piper fought Mr. T. They boxed in like an exhibition kind of sparring match or whatever. And of course, Roddy Piper at one point got mad and body slammed Mr. T and got disqualified. But it was kind of funny because that was the first time I ever remember thinking a wrestler, like I understood he was acting and portraying a role to be the bad guy. So it was just funny that he got so frustrated, he just body slammed Mr. T and left. But Piper actually goes on to do a bunch of stuff besides this. Like this was his breakthrough role, obviously. But he went on to do, oh boy, let's see, 174 credits. That's amazing. Oh, they got WrestleManias in here. There you go. There's always a hook with some of these people, like music videos and stuff. Oh boy, yeah. Let's see when his first role was. Was it indeed this? Or did he do something earlier? Bunch of, yeah, all his wrestling is in here too, so no wonder he has such a huge catalog. He was in the Goonies Are Good Enough Part 2 video for Cyndi Lauper. I forgot about that. Boy, yeah, they just have all the Body Slam. That's right, 1986. Quick Rick Roberts. I think him and the Tonga Kid and maybe Mr. Fuji or somebody are all in that. But I remember that one. It's if you love professional wrestling, it's worth seeing. But it's a schlock fest. It's one you Mystery Science Theater more than you actually enjoy. So well, let me finish. See what else Piper had here. Wrestling. So Hell Comes to Frogtown was actually before this. But so he plays Sam Hell in Hell Comes to Frogtown. Get it? He's Hell, so he comes to Frogtown. He was in Buy and Sell. I do remember that. It's about a guy who goes to prison. I think Piper's one of the dudes in there. I think it's maybe a guy who trains the prisoners how to sell stocks, perhaps. I forget. But I do remember Piper in that one. And Then They Live. So yeah, this is his third major role. In this, he plays John Nada. Get it? Nobody. He's not important. He's just a no man. Nada. Oh, let's see. I see folks are starting to pile into the chat. I reviewed a Keith David TV show today. I didn't know he did a TV show. That's awesome. I forgot to put my special glasses on. Sorry. Meg Foster and Those Lovely Eyes as I cover mine up. Oh, yeah. That's one of the probably the third co-star of this movie. It's Rowdy Piper, Keith David, and then Meg Foster's eyes, right? And then the makeup of the weird alien faces. The makeup, when we get to that, it's crazy because it's a great idea. It's not the traditional. I don't know. It doesn't look like any other alien race or whatever. It's kind of funky and weird and half zombie-like. It's cool. So here's where Piper, he strolls into town. He's trying to get a gig working at a construction site. And they're like, this is a union gig. So they're showing how the economy's so bad that it's making homeless people and they can't get jobs places and because of the unions and everything. That a lot of people say this was Carpenter's. He wrote and directed this. That he did this in response to Reaganomics. The economy was always so fluctuating, and a lot of rich people got rich and poor people got poorer. So he kind of wanted to make something about that whole corporate system, and especially the whole corporate advertising and product placement and stuff. So that's what this movie's about. To me, it's almost like an hour and a half version of Twilight Zone, except it's pretty awesome. It's got maybe one of the best fight scenes of all time, right? Caveman Maybe More. Hi, Guy. How the heck are you? Hey there, everyone. Welcome, Guy. He did a short-lived superhero show called The Cape. I was unaware, Keith David. I would watch a superhero show with Keith David. That sounds good. The Cape. Sure. Greetings, Caveman. Yes, hello. So this is so funny. Piper spent most of his career not being real built. That was his thing. He was the heel. He would be a bad guy. And part of the legend they built in the 80s is that if you lifted a lot of weights, you say your prayers, take your vitamins, and whatever the hell else Hulk wanted you to do. Piper was a bad guy, so he always kind of had a schlubby body. I mean, he was built. He's a barrel chest. He looked like a dude who beat your ass in a bar, but he didn't look like a bodybuilder, right? So he went his whole career as sort of a bulky, barrel-chested, old-timey build guy, the guy who would kick sand in your face in the comic book ad. But then for this, he wanted to be more beefy and action star because it was the time of Stallone and Schwarzenegger and stuff. So he's clearly on the juice here. Like his arms are way bigger, and they have him a beefcake shot of him there with his shirt off eating lunch and stuff. And it's like most of his career, he wore a T-shirt except for like in the match, you know. And that mullet he's rocking he could go straight to the NHL. It's like, it doesn't matter if you can skate or play or not. You just look like you could be in the NHL with that damn haircut. And here Piper stumbles onto an encampment for like homeless people, and it's folks are all living there together and like feeding each other and like a nice community. So he sees like the bond built by all these poor people who are struggling and stuff. So he kind of settles in like, oh, this is a nice place where people are taking care of each other. I'm cool with that. But there's more to be revealed. The Cape. Piper played a good guy in Walker, Texas Ranger. Oh, that's right. Let's get back to the work of Roddy Piper. So after this, he went on to do all these wrestling shows. The Love Boat, A Valentine Voyage. He played Maurice Steiger. He was in a TV movie called Tag Team, where he played Rick McDonald. He was in Zorro, the TV show. He was in Superboy, the TV series. Wrestling. Silk Stockings as Jimmy Snow. I was unaware he was in Silk Stockings. That tracks. Highlander, that also tracks, the TV series. He played Anthony Gallen. Immortal Kombat, 1994. Never heard of it. RoboCop TV series, Fake Thief Commander Cash. That's quite a credit. Back in Action, Frank Rossi. Tough and Deadly as Elmo Freach. That's his best name so far. Elmo Freach, Tough and Deadly. And then he was in No Contest, where he played Ice. That was in 95. Jungle Ground, Lieutenant Jacob. Misery Brothers as Rowdy Piper. Marked Man as Frank Gibson. Terminal Rush was Bartell. Dead Tides as Mick Letty. These names are all awesome. Still in 1996. In 96, he did 6 movies. Awesome. He was in The Bad Pack as Dash Sims. First Encounter as Lieutenant Edward Gans. And then there's the aforementioned Patrick's 1998 one episode of Walker, Texas Ranger, Cody the Crusader Conway. Then he was in Last to Surrender as Nick Ford. He was in Shepherd as Miles. And IMDb has it rated a 2.8. So I bet that is awesome. Hard Times as Randy. That's a TV movie. An episode of The Outer Limits, the 1999 remake, as Marlon. Jack of Hearts as Detective Deeks. Deeks nuts. The Mullets, a TV series, as Roddy Piper. How appropriate. He has an awesome mullet here. Three Wise Guys as Pastor Roberts. Shut Up and Shoot as Yoakum the bartender. Of course, he did Robot Chicken. Everybody does Robot Chicken. If you've been in a movie and anybody might know your name, you get to be in Robot Chicken. Ghosts of Goldfield as Jackson Smith. Kicking It Old School as Roddy Piper. Blind Eye as Fred Mears. Street Team Massacre in 2007 as Roddy. A Gothic Tale in 2008 as narrator. So many wrestling tapes. Holy cow. He must have just had endless residuals. Billy Owens in The Secret of the Runes as William Thurgood, as well as Cold Case, an episode where he played Sweet Sill Tavern. The Portal, where he played in 2010, where he played Homeless George. In 2010, he also was an Alien Opponent, as well as Lights Out, as well as one episode of Munchie the Agent. Damn, Piper, we working. He also did Billy Owens in The Secret of the Runes in 2010. Man, and The Roonies, a TV movie. Wow. Clear Lake as Wayne in 2012. He voiced himself in Saints Row video game. The Night Traveler as The Pyro Messiah. That's a good name. I would wrestle under that name. I might not win, but I'll set you on fire. The Takeaway, 7.7. No name. Don't Look Back as Eddie Sparks. Other Plans as Dean Evans. They're all the same name. The Reconciler as Russ. Portal to Hell with 3 exclamation points as Jack. Adventures of a Pizza Guy as Merrick Slovomar. The Masked Saint as Nikki Stone, and that was in 2016. He was in The Bet as Mr. Jablonski in 2016. He was in The Chair as Murphy in 2016. And he was in The Green Fairy as Oscar Wilde in 2016. Roddy Piper passed away in 2015. Sorry, that's the first time somebody's death actually made me laugh. He made 5 movies after he died. You tell me who's the hardest working man in show business. Anyways, back in the movie that I'm not watching. Now Piper's walking around this camp he found, right? He's, like I said, he's appreciating it, that it's got this, family vibe. All these people are taking care of each other and stuff. All the other houseless people, homeless folks. So he's stumbling around looking at everything and trying to figure out, what's going on with this? Something's not right. And then he realizes the church across the street has a lot of strange traffic coming and going. So he's like trying to figure out, is this drugs or whatever? He's, so we just see shots of Piper like, oh, sorry. And then eventually he stumbles onto the insidious plot going on by these homeless people. They're actually resistance fighters. But anyways, back to Rowdy Piper, because really until him and Keith David fight and they're just setting up first act stuff, this is all about Piper as far as I'm concerned. It's Piper and Carpenter. It's all of them at once. Let me see here. Meg Foster was in Jeepers Creepers 3. Meg Foster's in a lot of stuff. But I'm always impressed. I'm afraid to do her IMDb. She did Blind Fury with Rutger Hauer. Keeping it appropriate. Thank you. Slick Shades. Thank you, Jinja. Welcome. My friend Jason is here. Horror YouTuber of the month. King Jason. Welcome, sir. How's it going? Or is it King Ninja? The Ninja King. The Jinja King. That's the Jinja King. That's what it is. There it is. Or do you already have a moniker that I'm unaware of? Are you the Duke of Ginge or something? Oh, Cold Case was an amazing show. Meg Foster in Leviathan. I do remember her in Leviathan specifically. Yeah, her eyes are haunting. When I was watching Nightmare on Elm Street, I was taken back by how much Nancy's eyes are, how blue they are, Heather Langenkamp. And I kept comparing her to Meg Foster. I was like, I never remembered her eyes being that hypnotic. She's got Meg Foster eyes. And there's Buck Flower. Buck Flower is awesome. He was an old cowboy actor back in the day, like back on black and white movies and black and white TV. And he eventually just grew. Him and Carpenter, the same way Tarantino has favorites from movies he grew up watching. Carpenter like uses all the people that were in the movies he grew up watching. It's like, oh, Buck Flower for sure. So Buck Flower turns up in a bunch of his movies. So Piper's getting the courage to go walk across the street and see what's up with that church over there. Like I say, this whole thing's pretty much kind of an extended episode of The Twilight Zone. It's got like a little mystery plot that involves, and it keeps sort of evolving. And gives you food for thought. It's really about something beyond what it's got stuff below the surface or above the surface. There's surface level stuff, and then there's other stuff. Speaking of surface level stuff and other stuff, please check out last night's commentary of Room 237. It's basically a big dissection of Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. I almost said Stephen King's The Shining. Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, but it's really a movie about art criticism and film interpretation and getting deep into like themes and subtexts and stuff. So if you're into all that, I recommend that for you. You don't even have to see the movie, I don't think. Oh, let's see here. He's King of the Gingers. Okay, I should have guessed. Okay. I don't know. I still like Ginger King, but Ninja King is pretty dope though too. That Ninja King is, I would watch a movie called Ninja King. Evelyn in Masters of the Universe. There you go. Meg Foster is she's been in, well, all right, you guys have talked me into it. By God, you let's see what her IMDb is while we're waiting for her to show up. I've seen her, I think I've been to 3 horror conventions in my life, and Meg Foster has been at all of them. So she has 123 acting credits. Piper had more, but it was all because of those wrestling tapes. Let's see. What was her first role? I'm guessing in the late 70s. 1969, the NET Playhouse. TV series. Adam at 6 a.m. in 1970 was her first movie. She was in Bonanza, The Mod Squad for 2 episodes. There was a TV show called The Sixth Sense. I was unaware of that. She was in Young Doctor. She was in Mannix, much more interesting. She was in Cannon, Medical Center, Barnaby Jones, The $6 Million Man, Bronk, a TV series. I would watch a show called Bronk. She was in Beretta, Don't Go to Bed with No Price on Your Head, Don't Do It. Hawaii Five-0. She was in the James Dean TV movie. She was in the Police Story TV show. She was in The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Man, the mouth ain't be mouthing. The Legend of Sleepy Hollow TV movie. Cagney and Lacey. This is just into 1982. She be working. Desperate Intruder. The Osterman Weekend. That's actually not too bad. It's as low rated on here, but I remember liking it. Twilight Zone, the TV series, the remake from the 80s. Masters of the Universe as Evil Lynn. Desperate. The Cosby Show. Miami Vice. They Live. Leviathan. The Hitchhiker TV series. Blind Fury. There you go. Shout out to Rucker Hauer. Relentless. Stepfather 2. Make Room for Daddy. Tripwire. The Young Riders. Backstab. Jezebel's Kiss. Shannon's Deal, Diplomatic Immunity, Future Kick, damn right, The Trials of Rosie O'Neill, To Catch a Killer, Shadow Chaser, Reasonable Doubt, 3 episodes of Quantum Leap, good for you. Best of the Best 2, I do remember that. Hidden Fears, Immortal Combat, wasn't Piper in that? Shrunken Heads, Lady in Waiting, episode of ER, Undercover Heat, Killers Within, Murder, She Wrote. We're still not out of the mid-90s. Oblivion, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Space Marines, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Spoiler, Sliders, Minus Man, Hercules, Xena, of course, 25 Hill, Sebastian, okay, The Lords of Salem, The Mentalist, Ravenswood, The Originals, 31, Baskets, 3 Days in August, Pretty Little Liars, Teen Titans Judas Contract as Mother Mayhem, the Twin Peaks reboot show for 1 episode in 2017, Jeepers Creepers 3, A Reckoning, Any Bullet Will Do, Overlord, A Place Called Hollywood, Investigation 13, There's No Such Thing as Vampires, Haunted 333, Hellblazers, The Accursed, and Masters of the Universe Revolution TV series as Motherboard. Whew. Meg Foster and her eyes be working, man. Let's see here. So now Piper is he's got the full-on surveillance. He's just spending all his time stalking this church across the street from the homeless encampment he's at, right? And he's got binoculars. So Keith David walks over to him. He's like, "What are you doing?" That was a terrible Keith David, but it's the best you're going to get right now. And they're seeing that everybody's loading boxes in and out of cars and taking them away. And these guys have these weird sunglasses on. So he's just kind of like, something is up. Speaking of something is up, welcome Lamonia Demonia. We ain't stopping till the break of dawn. Wicca. Thank you for coming, Lamonia. She's a crowd favorite and a Don personal favorite. Ninja King does sound pretty damn impressive, doesn't it? Right? It's like if somebody said, "Hey, you want to meet my friend the Ninja King?" I'd be like, I mean, I'm kind of afraid, but yeah. Like, Don wears his sunglasses at night so he can see the light. Exactly. Now, I knew I usually keep like one pair of nice sunglasses, and then the rest of the time I just buy these cheap dollar store ones, and then they're disposable. So any jacket I have, it's like, oh no, there's cheap dollar store glasses. So I had to go through like 3 coats to figure out where the hell these Blues Brothers ones I had were. We're finally getting a commercial. Wow, what time? Hold on, we gotta wait till the commercial's done to figure out the time. But literally like 23 minutes without a commercial. That's pretty impressive, Tubi. Golf clap. Come on, quit clicking. There it is. Okay. Dig in the Shade. You just one piano away from a Pepsi commercial. I started the show by introducing myself as Ray Charles. Well, yeah, you and me always. You got the right one, baby. That was a deep cut. Oh, this is going to be a long ass commercial too. Oh dear Lord. We've talked about this with Tubi before. Sometimes Tubi will hit you with like the 30-seconder and that little bar will go fast. It's like, ooh, it's going to be a quickie. But then there's other ones where it's a damn nooner. Like I'm going to be here all night with this one. This is a 2-minuter. Let's see here. That's great. She's Lamonia and me are team knucklehead. I like it. I'm still fascinated by targeted ads. Like they're starting to learn my politics, because before they were hitting me with politics I wouldn't vote for, but now I can see they've clearly either been spying on me or they're just fishing to see what I'll. Most likely they're just bombarding me with ads of politics in my area because voting is coming up. But everything they always advertise is stuff I need, and it kind of creeps me out at sometimes. Like stuff that I've talked to other people, like, oh, I got to run to the store and get garbage bags, and then there'll be like a commercial for garbage bags. I don't know. Might just be synchronicity. Did you watch my review of Room 237? Let's see here. Hey, Sean is here. What's up, everyone? Welcome, Cinephile Sanity. I believe it's at Cinephile Sanity TV. Same with Jinja Ninja JK. Like you gotta remember the extra numbers and codes, otherwise they get lost. My friend Mr. Bones is HPS. Although to find Bones, you have to put Mr. Bones Dollar Tree. Speaking of Mr. Bones, tomorrow night I will be on Mr. Bones' channel to watch Machete. Last week he and I watched Planet Terror, so we're going to do another Robert Rodriguez movie because it went so well. So we're going to do something else in the Grindhouse oeuvre, since he and I both did Death Proof and Planet Terror. I'm sorry, we watched Planet Terror last week and then Death Proof. Never mind, I get them confused every time. Why did they do that to me? But anyways, yeah, so tomorrow Machete on Mr. Bones' channel. You can find him by putting Mr. Bones Dollar Tree in your search bar. I don't know why that code works. Hey there, Sean. Folks are welcoming Sean. Everybody loves Sean. Sean's awesome. Hello, Caveman. Hello, Ammonia. Oh, boy. So once again, we got Piper doing surveillance. We're at the 22:35 mark. This is streaming on Tubi. If you're watching this later on, I'll try to remember to put a link in the description. I usually do. I don't know. For some reason, that some people like that. That's weird. I don't know. It's not weird. If it's helpful, I'd rather help than not help. I mean, it's part of the superhero mandate, yo. So, they give you the classic split lighting schemes. They do that in movies sometimes to show when a character, you're not really sure if they're good or bad, and they're kind of in between. They'll light half their face. So one side will be dark and one side will be light. And it's kind of show that there may be, both sides of the fence, maybe a little good, maybe a little bad. So they hit Piper with the shaded face there. I was like, ooh, we're still not sure about this guy, are we? How can we not be sure about him? It's Roddy Piper. As per usual, people in the chat, as well as folks in the comments later on, watching in the future. Let me know if you've seen this movie, if you dig it, if this is a first time for you. This is one I think most people should see. It's like I say, it's an extended Twilight Zone episode. It kind of makes you think. It tells a good message of like over consumerism and stuff without really like having to just come right out on the screen and say it. It tells a good story that people can grasp. Like, yeah. So I don't want to reveal where we're getting within the glasses, because I have something to talk about when we get there too. But right now the SWAT team and all the local police and stuff are invading the homeless encampment, and they're pushing them out. So we see like all these people with flares, and it's really kind of this big cool action scene. And my town had a riot in the town I used to live in Kenosha, and I went down there one night to look at it, and it was totally They Live. Like they would light flares and put it in the street, and you would see these police with the shields walking down, and it just gave me that vibe right away. They had garbage trucks parked blocking off so you couldn't get to the police station, and people had set the garbage trucks on fire. So like it was totally They Live. So when I see this, I almost get flashbacks of being down there. But they're just kind of showing how like the oppressive class is, beating down on the poor folks. It's a pretty simple message to get, but it also shows like that maybe the police know that these guys are the resistance, the rebels of Star Wars, if you will. Oh no, they got Cowboy Buck Flowers cornered. let's see here. They Live was made for $3 million. Wow. If you can make this for $3 million, I don't want to hear anything out of those $100 million movies. You need to step up your game. So yeah, this was $3 million. It made 13.4 in the box office. So well above double, well above triple. So basically it was a success by its standards, even though 13.4 sounds like a bomb, but for only $3 million to make it. That probably also helps with having Roddy Piper and Keith David and Meg Foster and Buck Flowers as your stars. You know what I mean? You're not paying Schwarzenegger his 20 mil or whatever. Themes. Carpenter has said that the film's political commentary derives from its dissatisfaction with U.S. President Ronald Reagan's economic policies, what Carpenter viewed as increasing commercialization in both the popular culture and politics of the era. So see, Carpenter just flat out tells you what he was trying to do with his art, and you don't really have to. You have to be a bit of a dullard not to be able to absorb that from this film. But they also do mix in the fight scene between Roddy Piper and Keith David, and it is awesome, right? It's like, if you've never seen this movie and you're not even into weird sci-fi shit, or you got different politics or whatever, you will dig when these two get into a fight. It lasts like 15 minutes. It's absurd. We'll put it on the clock when it comes. It's ridiculous. And speaking of blind people, the old blind pastor or preacher who runs the church across the street that all the rebel stuff is going out of, he's trying to fight off the authoritarian thugs with a stick. It's very Yoda. But once again, we're not sure if Piper's good or bad. He backs away from helping the people in the camp. He kind of like leaves. He's, like the jaded good guy. Oh, let's see here. What's up with our friends in the chat? Why does this movie always remind me of Max Headroom for some unknown reason? Well, probably, I don't know. That was my best Max Headroom. We've done 2 impersonations tonight, both shaky. The Keith David wasn't bad. Nobody never touch another man's fries. I know Piper was already experienced with acting with entertainment, but he really brings something singular to the role he plays in They Live. Look at Sean with some deep analysis. You smart motherfucker. Yeah, I totally agree. I sort of agree with Carpenter's idea that this is an unknown actor, even though he's kind of famous coming in. It's a real sweet spot. It's like he comes with a built-in audience of wrestling fans who will go see the movie because they want to see Piper. But he's also unknown to movie fans, right? Because most of them, well, back then, a lot of them weren't all wrestling fans and stuff. So Piper's almost like a new action hero face. And he doesn't have much to do. He's kind of the traditional, like, cowboy movie cowboy, like he doesn't really talk much. He's jaded. He's just sort of keeping to himself and looking around. He does a good role. I like it. Hey, Liv Style Rewind is here. Welcome, Liv. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. She dropped by for the last 2 streams. Liv is becoming a regular. We got to get her a closer parking spot. This movie is something special. Is that cool Carpenter vibe and haunting? Yeah, for sure. I dig heck yeah. Look how my friend Gareth is here already. Look how he got here early for They Live. That's why he usually drops in at the very end when he's having tea and crumpets or whatever. But yeah, he's here early for They Live. That's why I like the man. He's if you ever need to know what a good guy Gareth is, he knows They Live rules. And if you say it doesn't, we're going to fight. Where the hell was I? Oh, yeah, this movie's something special with Carpenter. And yes, the Carpenter stuff, it's once again, Carpenter Auteur, written, directed, and scored by Carpenter. And then he sat in the editing room, too. So that's one of the reasons I always dig Carpenter. And I have an affection for Robert Rodriguez as well. By the way, it's shot by Mr. Bones' channel tomorrow to watch Machete with me and him. Anyways, so I like guys who have their own vision, right? Like they wrote the story and then another director didn't come along and take it away from him and rewrite it. Like they followed it through. There's a lot of them. Woody Allen, I think, is like that. Boy, I'm going to get stuck on that one. Tarantino is getting more and more like that. Like now he does the cinematography of his own films and stuff. So the more control a filmmaker has of the stuff that they do, the more I see their vision. And Carpenter, especially with the score, like that synth score, like it just feels like Carpenter. And it's also got like kind of a rockin' score, like he's moved on from the creepy Halloween sort of. Now it's more like a little bit of, I dig it. So Piper's investigating the church now, trying to figure out what's going on with it in there. Real slow burn. We're 30 minutes in, and he still hasn't even gotten a pair of glasses and figured out what's going on yet. It's just the first act or half hour, but This movie's only an hour and 34, so we should have been well past the first act by now. So it's a weird pacing, but as Jason said, I trust in Carpenter. We trust. Hello, this is the morning. Sup, Gareth and Liv. Never knew Piper was a wrestler for years after this came out. See, there you go. The film crowd or people in other countries probably just have no idea that that's where he came from. But I kind of dig that he ended up in schlock movies. Like, I think if they would have tried to make him the next Seagal or the next, like an early version of The Rock or something, I don't think it would have worked. But the fact that he's in Hell Comes to Frogtown and those other 9 million movies I mentioned, like, I don't know, it feels Piper-ish. Let's see. How are there no bubblegum emojis? Thank you, Liv. Yeah, I came to chew bubblegum and watch this movie, but I'm all out of bubblegum. Bubble must be inappropriate for kids now. Yeah, probably. Isn't there one where they're blowing up bubble? I don't remember. They probably had it and took it away like the gun. Morning video tasties. Folks are saying hello to Gareth. He's a crowd favorite. Hell Comes to Frogtown is epic. Yeah, that was another one. I often talk about how I'm a big part of what inspired this show and talking about movies and being up late and talking about movies was this guy, Joe Bob Briggs, we had in America. Now he's on Shudder, but sometimes he's on commentaries on films and stuff. And he's kind of a general movie celebrity. He's fun. But Joe Bob Briggs was my guy growing up. So I always dug the late night, 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. slot of just this old redneck sitting there explaining, you know how many boobs there are in Hell Comes to Frogtown? Not enough. So Joe Bob frequently showed this. Same with a competing show, Rhonda Shear, and then later Gilbert Gottfried. They did like a similar show late up all night. And on those, they would often show Hell Comes to Frogtown because it has a grabber name. Like, if you've never seen it and you hear Hell Comes to Frogtown, it's like, I need to check that out. That sounds good. All right, so Piper got a hold of the glasses. We've finally got to the good stuff here. And he's walking around and he's putting on these glasses and he realized every billboard around him, every magazine around him has subliminal messaging in it. And they say these great phrases just like obey, sleep more, consume, marry and reproduce. So every billboard, every magazine, every street sign, everywhere. And then now he's just sort of absorbing like, holy crap, what kind of stuff is really going on in this world? And then he sees one of these freaked out people with like this, like, I don't know, the makeup design is amazing because it seems like normally you would go with like a gross monster with tentacles or have it be all like the grays, like the Close Encounters aliens. But instead they're like kind of skull zombie people. Like they look, I don't know, like dehydrated humans or something. They're wild. So especially the color, they're like a blue and a red. I mean, I think that's supposed to do with the American economic stuff that Carpenter was talking about. But like they with the glasses on, everything's in black and white. So in gray, they look like black and white movies, like old school 1950s stuff. So yeah, now he's at the newsstand. All the cigarette packs say obey and consume and all that on it. Stay asleep, no original thoughts, submit, marry and reproduce. Yeah, it's just kind of awesome and amazing. Liv says Roddy is fucking awesome. He's a great recurring role on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, playing a crazy, probably homeless, washed up wrestler. One of the best TV shows. I've never watched it, and everybody I know says it would be a show I would love. And then when I heard Roddy Piper was on it, it's always like, I gotta start watching that. But isn't it like, I don't know, don't they have like 10 seasons now or something? I'm always intimidated by huge catalogs to watch. I actually never seen Frogtown, but that'll eventually happen eventually, right? I have movies that are on my like Grail list that I always need to see. And it's like, oh, mental note, I need to see that. So I finally got to see Near Dark earlier today for the first time in my life because it's always on a streaming service I don't have. And that's how Hell Comes to Frogtown sometimes is. It's like before Tubi, that was a tough one. If you didn't have the VHS or the DVD, you'd have to special order it or whatever. I, however, have both the VHS and the DVD of Hell Comes to Frogtown. Correct, Liv. It's great. Okay, I knew Gareth wouldn't let us down on They Live. I agree with Joe Bob. There needs to be more boobs. It's quality over quantity in Frogtown. Exactly. Liv Style knows what's up. Didn't one guy play all the aliens? I don't know. That would make sense because even the woman, I think, yeah, because they all kind of have a similar build. And then the whole thing with the watch, where they're like, we have one who sees us and stuff. Like it adds a creepy sci-fi, like I don't know, paranoia to everything, or a being watched vibe. Speaking of being watched, I'm back in the murder room. In case anybody wondered, at any point I could have someone come out of this door and kill me, come out of this door and kill me. This way, Candyman could kill me. All right, so that's one. I've said it once. If I say it 2 more times, he can kill me. Oh, that's right. I forgot. They also broadcast over as people are walking around. There's just a voice like sleep, obey. So he's walking around because it's a whole new world. It's like Wizard of Oz to him, right? He's stumbling around, just fascinated by everything he sees. And like I say, it's dope because when we see his vision, everything's in black and white. So it goes to like a 1950s style, like how some movies, it's really fun to go back and watch them in black and white and imagine them as a black and white movie. The Mist, if you've ever seen The Mist, Frank Darabont wanted that originally to be in black and white. So there's a color version, but when you buy the DVD or Blu-ray, they frequently include the black and white version as well. Shawshank in black and white, Jaws in black and white. There's certain movies, I think Star Wars even has a black and white. Zack Snyder did Justice League in black and white. It gives it that old-timey feel to it, right? So Carpenter, big fan of old school black and white movies growing up and all that. You know, he's giving you that vibe. You get to switch back and forth between old 50s sci-fi and the modern world. There are, but my only thing with if the one guy played all the aliens, there are some shots where there are multiple aliens. I don't think they chroma keyed them, but they all do have similar builds. Like they clearly wanted to cast like Patrick Bateman type people. Like they wanted everybody to be kind of fit and sort of creepily perfect. They're Infinity Seasons and they're all great. Please give it a shot. That's one I actually like. I will. Same with Arrested Development. I never got going on it, and now I'm like intimidated to try to watch them all. But I actually want to watch It's Always Sunny before Arrested Development, even though I bet I would like them both. I've only seen half of the series run of Curb Your Enthusiasm, and I'm scared to get picked back up with it. It's like, oh man, that's another 5 seasons I got to pick up on. See what I mean? That's why the bulk series start to bother me. I get overwhelmed. It's like, well, that's going to be 3 weeks at least. And then this is going to be whatever. I'm more apt to watch like a one and done season. But the good stuff you have to, right? You know, Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, Heroes, Murder Room. Yes, it's just at any point I feel like I'm under threat of being attacked in this room. And it's been pointed out, you know who's always lurking is Now It's Dark Jim. He'd be lurking. Mad Max Fury Road has a black and chrome version. Yeah, there you go. I think I watched that one too. It looks really dope because of those they're futuristic cars, but they're also like throwbacks of the old, you know, like the pickup trucks and stuff. So in the black and white, it looks extra wild. Like, yeah. Sonny really takes off with season 2. Look at Gareth knowing an American show. Is that a boy? That's him. That's a foreign exchange for me knowing all about the young ones. See, there's a good one. The young ones. Watch that. It's like 1 season. You get to see it all and you're done. So now Piper has been discovered by the aliens and they're all talking into their watches and they're like all coming at him in a horde. And everywhere he goes, like these creepy people turn their head and look at him. But I think there's a thing where he has to take the glasses off soon because they give you a headache. And then later on, they invent the contacts. And they're like, these ones are better. You don't get the headache. Oh, yeah. Here's where he like now kind of lost his shit. And he goes around and starts like hassling the aliens and being a problem. He tells that one lady who's fixing her hair. He's like, that's like putting perfume on a pig. Ginger says the young ones is great. Yeah, you know. Bottom is also a great show. Yeah, I've been wanting to check out Bottoms. Gareth, if you're into check out Video Tasty's channel. He's good with all that stuff. Bottoms and the young ones. He's actually done interviews with the people on the young ones and stuff. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. Rick, if you guys remember Rick. Was just watching Arrested Development earlier today. Another gem. I've never seen an episode of Game of Thrones, and I saw a couple of Breaking Bad. Yeah, I'm a big crime drama dork, and I'm also a fantasy adventure guy. So those are must sees for me. Game of Thrones is really good. It's got a lot going on, a lot of sex and nudity and incest and weird other shit. But it's also kind of amazing, just the plotting and So here's where Piper, the cops come and try to arrest Piper. And of course, the cops are the aliens. So he beats the shit out of them and takes their guns. And then this is where he goes in and like opens the door or brings the shotgun into the bank. And he gives the classic line, I'm here to chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble gum. These are inept cops, though, because they've already got the shotgun that's supposed to be unlocked. Like they were asking for it. This always this feels like one of the contributors to the Matrix. When I first saw the Matrix, it really it struck a they live chord with me. Like all of us are living. So here it is. He walks in. He's got the shotgun. I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I am all out of bubblegum. Yeah, supposedly the urban legend is, as a pro wrestler, Piper would keep a little book, a little journal around, right? Like one of these little notepads that you write on, right? And he would just have a little book of clever things to say when he did promos for his matches, like Hulk Hogan, I'm going to do whatever to you, and Jimmy Snuka this and all that. So he had all these clever little things, like funny phrases. And I remember his classic is, don't throw rocks at a man with a machine gun. Or what's the other one? As soon as you think you've got all the answers, I change the questions. Or like there were Piper-isms. So supposedly in this notebook full of Piper-isms, one of them in there was, I came here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum. So, but it was unburnt up. It was a fresh rhyme, so he got it out of his rhyme book and put it in the movie. And this is in all science fiction and fantasy. I don't know why. It occurred to me during Big Trouble in Little China. Some sort of floating orb that's monitoring everything. Like it's in a bunch of Twilight Zones. It's in Big Trouble in Little China. It's like a monster thing in there. But here it's a floating little space ball thing. They also have the same deal in Flash Gordon. And then as I was thinking about it, watching that, I recalled, Fahrenheit 451? One of them old school Ray Bradbury's has the eye in the sky flying around watching you. So I don't know that sort of state-sanctioned spying or whatever is something people were very concerned about in this era. And we got hit with a commercial. All right, it's 2:20. I was at that's about right. They haven't been hitting me too bad with them. I'm impressed. Lemonia says Curb is so good, but I've only seen up to season 8. I never related so much to an older Jewish man from Brooklyn. Yeah, I always liked Seinfeld. It was a little dry, but I always enjoyed it. But then when Curb came out, it was like more the pacing I liked and stuff. It was just really kind of funny. But like I said, I've only seen maybe half of the series. I don't know season 10, season 11, is that what they're on? I know they just wrapped it up. They had a finale. So now that it's done, especially, I'll probably go through and catch up on that. I still need to see Ozark. I liked Breaking Bad. I hear Ozark is great. I've only seen like one season of Stranger Things, and I keep thinking like, oh, I should. But everybody tells me that one goes bad after season 3 or something. I don't know. The last season of Curb was great, but they all are. But the last season is still fresh in my mind. Yeah, like I said, I think that people were talking about that all on the radio and stuff. Jason said Ozark was good. Yeah, so yeah, that's a lot of folks I know told me Ozark is another one I would really dig in the same like Breaking Bad kind of mold. They felt like people in over their head in a crime drama. I frequently said on this channel, my favorite genre in movies is horror, and then next is probably crime drama, and then fantasy adventure or documentary. But I enjoy a good comedy here and there. But you give me a good horror, a good like well-made fantasy story that's got a whole lore to it. Yeah, you can suck me in. So they hit me with another long commercial. We're still on it, but it's coming to the end. But if they're only going to go every 20 minutes, that's not bad, right? I can't complain. Tubi, you don't do me wrong. A lot of things in life, I'm very unhappy with the service. Tubi, you're all right. Jason says Ozark was a slow burn, but the payoff. There's just too much to watch. I know, that's what I mean. As a person who likes to keep up on the popular stuff, like I like to watch stuff just because other people are liking it. Like, oh, what are y'all into these days, right? So so many people want to hit me with, oh, have you seen this? Are you seen this? And then there's always the contrarian folks who've watched like the weird ones on that nobody else has watched. I do that all the time. I recommend Archive 81. I recommend The Devil's Hour. The Devil's Hour is really good. I recommend that. But yeah, there's just so much. I remember when I got turned on to the rebooted teens. Did Doctor Who come out? Late thousands teens, when they redid Doctor Who good. I got into all those with David Tennant and stuff. And after a while, I was just, man, I'm overwhelmed with shows. Gotham. I enjoyed Gotham because I like Batman. So I still haven't seen what's it called? Alfred or Pennyworth or whatever it's called. Speaking of Penny Dreadful. If you haven't seen Penny Dreadful, that's an awesome series too. It's a horror one. It's great. It's like 3 seasons, but it's really fun. There's just, at this point, I've deemed there's infinity entertainment. There's more stuff than I will ever be able to catch up on. Like with superheroes, I talk about sometimes, like there's, when I was a kid, I used to love superhero movies because I grew up on comic books and stuff. And then like up till like 2000, there was only a handful of decent superhero stuff to watch. A lot of it was schlocky and bad, or like Dolph Lundgren's The Punisher, and Swamp Thing was decent. I like Swamp Thing, but like it was only Superman and Batman, but it just, the superhero movies sucked. But I'd seen virtually every superhero movie there was to see up until like 2000. And then by 2000, they just bombarded me with so many. It's like, I'll never catch up on all this at this point. I'm sorry, Black Adam. You will have to just not be watched. I've accepted that we're not going to see you. Same with you, Shazam 2. I just don't have time in my life for Shazam 2. No offense to people who love Shazam 2, but I got They Live to watch for the 50th time. So Piper, after going into that whole bank thing that was going on, he escapes and he hops in the car of Meg Foster, well, the aforementioned Meg Foster with the great eyes, and he hops in her car and takes her back to his house. It's basically the same thing Arnold Schwarzenegger does to Maria Conchita Alonso in Running Man. It's the same plot. Let me kidnap you, and then we'll kind of fall in love. But here it takes a twist. It's a twist. Let's see here. So I rewatch a lot of the same shit because that makes sense. Yeah, that's what I mean. I when I started doing this version, the late night talking about movies, I was doing themes frequently. Like right now, I'm kind of on a Carpenter kick. But the main mandate is that whatever I watch is just sort of comfort food, like something that makes me happy to watch because I've seen it a couple times. I've only watched 1 or 2 things as a first viewing on here. Some folks like reactions, but basically I go back to my old favorites. If I've seen it more than 5 or 10 times, we'll be talking about it. That's why I watched Room 237 last night. It was like, well, it's a movie I love and hardly anybody else sees. But it's like, let's shout it out. It's free. What's there to complain about? I'm assuming you're talking about Tubi. Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel. So many of them, it's like $9.99 a month, but you got to pay $12.99 for no commercials. And if you want extended download with more than 4 TVs, it's $15.99. Like Tubi's just like, here, watch 3 commercials. Remember old TV? TV's fun. Exactly, Pneumonia. Unless you're a Video Tasties and they can't get Tubi. Ginger, you guys get Tubi there? I wasn't aware. I thought maybe only North America got it. As I've mentioned before, I'm ignorant of how the World Wide Web works. It just feels like it would be worldwide. It's in the name. Except for China. That's unfortunate. It's so graceful that Tubi came into my life. Oh, Gareth, you shouldn't have to take this abuse. That's what you get for coming from the land where they invented acting. I love Tubi and Pluto. I don't care if there's some ads. It's free and it has a decent selection of stuff. Yeah, I dig all the freebies. I have a few pay ones. Right now I have AMC Plus because I wanted Shudder. And then Joe Bob, like I say. But then also, of course, I have the biggies, Netflix and Max, Amazon Prime, because I only have Amazon Prime because I need Amazon Prime for delivery. So the fact that they throw in a free movie channel is like, cool, I'll take it. Piper gets to take his glasses off, so I get to take my glasses off. There. Hey, guys, how you doing? So, yeah, I keep the biggies. At one point, there was a bundle where it was like Hulu, Disney, ESPN Plus, and I bought that for like $9.99 to get Hulu and Disney Plus. But that was before Disney Plus had all the Star Wars stuff. There was like just The Mandalorian or something. So I missed out. Once again, Star Wars, another thing there's too much of me to ever get caught up on. Up until the Disney movies started coming out, I'd seen every Star Wars thing ever made. The Ewok Adventures, the freaking the cartoons, the holiday special, all of it. But then by the time Disney got a hold of it, and there's all these shows and everything, cartoons. I'll never catch up on all of it now. It's I'm just gonna have to accept that Star Wars Rebels will go unwatched. Ginger says, yeah, they got Tubi and I love it. Ben says, consume. Welcome, Ben Graham. I like when Ben drops by. He's always nice. He always got the good info on stuff. This is one that Carpenter did a commentary for. So a lot of the secrets and stuff that he talks about in it is kind of been revealed. Like I said, that whole notebook story where Piper had the notebook of the gum. He's told that story 50 times. But it intrigues me that was an ad-libbed sign by Piper, or line of dialogue by Piper. We are currently at the 49:12 mark, so roughly 40 minutes left. Piper and Mag are just in his house drinking. He's passed out because he's had the sunglasses on all day, and they're like giving him a headache and draining him. I've got a VPN, and I can watch everything in the USA and Australia. Breaking all the rules, breaking the law, breaking the law. That a boy, Jason. That's why I like you. You are truly the Ninja King. But I have this on Blu-ray. Yeah, this is. I have this on VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray. The DVD, I might even have two versions of. This is one of my, we were talking last night about if The Shining is in my top 20 or 50, like where would I rank it? And this is probably somewhere in my top 20. Like this is an all-timer for me. I love me some They Live. It's sad that it's not like this big, I should have better taste and love like these dramatic movies that have won Oscars and all these, fart-smelling critics would love. But no, it's like They Live. Just put it on. I'll just sit and watch. That sort of background music, that rock music. So here she's betrayed Piper and kicked him out of her house. But I think this is where we go stumbling into the alley fight. So buckle up, kids. It's about to get good. For sure. I've been wanting to start doing watch-alongs for some of my fave comfort movies, but the anxiety about going live has been a bit too big so far. It's everybody handles it their own way. Some folks just sit quietly and watch and let people absorb their reactions and whatnot. I go more for like a podcast radio thing where I try not to have dead air. I try not to sit for too long or let you guys sit in quiet for too long. I know it's the constant rambling is obnoxious as hell, but I'd rather that than just. See, it's making me uncomfortable. It's making me uncomfortable. So Piper sees the cops are coming to get him after he escaped. See, somebody left. I lost one viewer during the silence. See what I mean? I need it. Hey, Father 1080p from Twitter, from Twitch is here. I also live stream this on Twitch. So if you're on Twitch, feel free to find the Night Owl Movie Talk on there as well. But it's usually just people, spam ads of people trying to get me to buy whatever. So thank you for being a real person, Father 1080p. And he says, Judas Priest is great. Breaking the law, breaking the law. You're the first cool person I've met on Twitch. Congratulations. First real person I've met on Twitch. Now, there was a guy who came on and said, what are you on about? And then he left. I never even got to tell him what I was on about. I think it's pretty clear. I'm on about They Live. It's in the title. Duh. They Live is a freaking masterpiece. That's what I mean. It's as far as if you like a certain type of cinema, it's just as good as anything. It's got a little message to it. It unfolds. There's a love plot, but a betrayal, and the whole thing with Buck Flowers turning out to actually be a bad guy. Ooh, spoiler. So Piper has to go sleep outside in the cold. That was an awesome shot. There's all these shadows around him, so he's like just hovering in the cold. It looked like a comic book panel. Liv says she's enjoying my musings. Thank you. Yeah, like I say, it's the constant rambling and not letting silence sit at some point is unnerving, but I try to treat it like a radio show, I guess. So here's where Piper, goes and finds Keith David, and he's like, you need to put these glasses on. Every time I say Keith David, you can hear me like lose confidence because there's also an actor named David Keith. So making sure I'm saying the right name every time I say it makes me like uneasy. David Keith was the bad guy in Major League 2. He was also Richard Gere's buddy in An Officer and a Gentleman. So shout out to David Keith. Speaking of Keith David, Piper's trying to explain to him, here, you need to put these on. And he's like, you ain't showing me nothing. So he's like, I'm at work. Get out of here. Hilarious. The classic scene that they have in all movies like this, when someone's wanted by the police, we have to go by they either go into a bar and see themselves on the TV in the bar, and then the bartender kind of looks at the guy and then he looks at the TV, and then when he looks back, he's gone. Here they went with the other trope, which is the giant wall of TVs outside of a store. So you can walk by this big store window and you stop and you see all the TVs and, oh no, I'm wanted. And they run away. It's like one of two every time. So he walked by the wall of TVs, and the picture of him that they are using to be like, this is the man we're looking for, is one of his 8x10s from wrestling. It's like a wrestling headshot. So here's where Piper, he stashed the glasses in an alleyway behind a dumpster. And he came there, and the garbage men have taken the dumpster where they had the box of glasses was. So now he's digging through the dumpster trying to recover the box. It's a real Star Wars New Hope trash compactor moment. Although this is like the cleanest garbage I've ever seen. It's all just like paper shreds and old boxes and stuff. Real garbage has like old eggs and stuff in it, tomato juice. But this is a good action scene, and it's shot really kind of cool. The garbage compactor, he's in it, and the load starts to go up, so he slides back. And you can tell they kind of did it by just building a room that looked like a garbage container, and they like did a rear projection or a green screen on the back, probably rear projection at this point. But yeah, you see him slide out with all the trash, and he's like, oh no. Just a good, funny action beat to mix in there before this damn epic fight breaks out. Entertainment at its finest. Yeah, well, here they are. All right, let's put the timer on this. Stopwatch. So he puts the glasses on to make sure that Keith David isn't one of them, and verifies that he isn't. And he's like, here, you put these on. Look, you crazy motherfucker. Put these on. Hey, I said, stay away from me. So he walks up on him. Start. Okay, so there's the first punch. He walks up on him, and Keith David just punches him right in the nose. He's like, I'm trying to save your family's life. Let's see here. I love this scene so much. Yeah, this is classic. Yeah, now they're just like going around kind of duking it out. There was a famous reenactment of this on South Park where Jimmy and Timmy had cripple fight. I know it's classless, but it's hilarious. And they reenact frame by frame of Jimmy and Timmy fighting, with the braces and the wheelchair, just beating the shit out of each other. If Keith David and David Keith started a movie together, the world would collapse in on itself and implode. Right? It would at least open a wormhole. Let's make that a reality. Echo zero. Cha, cha, cha. So now they're just punching each other in the face. Oh, the Piper got a good right cross on him and took him down to the ground. So now Piper's explaining that I like that. He's doing the old wrestling thing. The Keith David throwing the punches and Piper's smacking him away as they come at him, right? You don't see that in boxing matches. That's awesome. Welcome, Echo. Hello, Echo. Hello, Lamonia Ninja. That's King Ninja. I love the Family Guy parody of the fight. Oh, let me guess. The Chicken and Peter? I haven't seen it, but that's what I'm guessing. So now Keith David gets the best of Roddy Piper, and he's knocked out, like all splayed on the ground, bleeding and whatnot. But it's like a friendly fight, because even there, he helps him back up and then hits him in the face. Told you. That's big of Piper, though, because you would think Piper would want to maintain his image as like this tough guy from wrestling who doesn't, even though it's a movie fight, he's not going to want to get his ass kicked by some actor. But Keith David's so tough and badass, you kind of have to, I don't know, he feels like Ving Rhames feels like he could beat your ass. That's how Keith David is. It's like, I don't know, he just seems like he could beat somebody's ass. I don't want no trouble with the guy. Is that with the big chicken? See, that's what I was guessing too. Peter and that chicken be fighting. Oh, he got him. Oh, that was nice. He threw the sunglasses on the ground. And then when Roddy Piper bent over to pick him up, he gave him like a knee to the face. It's a classic wrestling. They say Piper choreographed this. I don't know. There are stunt choreographers and choreographers. There are stunt choreographers on this movie, but I believe they say Piper and David Keith Keith David worked this out themselves. And they're still just punching the shit out of each other while I'm talking. If anybody needs to go get a drink, now's the time, because when you come back, they'll still be fighting. Oh, now he's got him in a headlock. Oh, well, that's right. There's going to be like a backdrop suplex. Yep, there it is. There it is. Be careful. That's how Bret Hart beat him in WrestleMania 5, I think, or was it 7? I don't know. Whatever. I think Bret Hart made Roddy Piper retire with that same move, so it kind of gets me. Yeah, now they're rolling around in mud puddles. It's getting ugly. And now, the classic. When you're done with the boxing, it's like at first you want to be like a pugilist, and then you get to wrestling, and then eventually you're just trying to like bang the guy's head into the cement. Like, just go away. I'm tired of fighting you. Oh, he did the leg whip. He got his legs twisted up and turned them. Classic 80s wrestling move as well. Oh, now Piper has gone to cheating because he's a bad guy. Remember earlier I said there was the split screen where you have dark on one side of his face? But now Keith has a bottle, or Keith David has a bottle. Piper swings the bat, or swings the 2x4 that he's carrying, looking like Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and he busts the window to Keith David's car. I almost did it again. He busts the window to Keith David's car, and then Keith David takes the bottle and he smashes it, but it breaks, so it's like completely unusable to him. So they're both just like, fuck it. And now they're back to beating each other up. And there's another suplex. Oh no, that's a atomic drop kind of backbreaker. Even knocked the F out, Roddy Piper's hair makes him look like the cover of a romance novel. Like he's just sort of flowing with the shirt open. Like. So Keith David puts the glasses back on him and says, "Fuck you." And we are at 4 minutes and 39 seconds. And Piper's back up. Stay down. Keith David's back's hurting him. I don't blame him. You never touch another man's fries. And we're back to the rib punches. Oh, and there's the double axe handle. And then another rib punch. Oh, he's going to give him the... Oh, yeah. Oh, that's nice. Sort of a hip check suplex. A hip toss suplex. Hip wrench. That's what it's called. A hip wrench suplex. And now he's making this mug put these glasses on. And it is at the 5 minutes and 22 seconds. Man. Jackie Chan, eat your heart out. Let me put the glasses on. Oh yeah, so now Keith David can see that they live, that he sees that what Roddy Piper saw. And then it's funny, after this they look like drinking buddies. Like I always kind of find this scene funny. Ugh, my mouth don't be mouthing sometimes. They're like, they beat the shit out of each other, so they're so exhausted and tired and they can't walk, and they have their arms around each other to hold each other up, and they both have the glasses on. They're like, or he's got the glasses to look, and they keep like switching them off and seeing like, holy shit, man. Yeah, now they both got the glasses because he had the big box of them, and they're just like stumbling around like drinking buddies, just examining this new world. And then they go to a flop house. And on the flop house is an old black and white movie. I wonder what it is. I bet it's Thing from Another Planet. Thing from Another World, whatever. Carpenter always uses the old black and white movies. He does that in Halloween and I think the Prince of Darkness. For those of you in the chat, or those of you watching later on in the future, in the comments, what's your favorite Carpenter movie? That's a tough one for me. Most people would say Halloween because that's the one they associate like as his big movie, is the main one. Let me see here. I will give you a Carpenter filmography while our heroes check into the same hotel room that the Terminator cut his eye out in. I don't know. I made that up. John Carpenter as director. Why are you not there? I don't need music. I don't need writer. Give me director. There we go. IMDb makes it difficult sometimes. John Carpenter has directed 33 titles or credits. First, Revenge of the Colossal Beasts, a short. Terror from Space, a short. Gorgo vs. Godzilla, a short. Gorgon the Space Monster, the short. Sorcerer from Outer Space, a short. Warrior and the Demon, a short. Captain Voyeur, a short. Dark Star. I don't know if you guys ever seen Dark Star. It's interesting. I waffle back and forth. Part of me hates it and part of me loves it. Like, there's some cool, interesting stuff going on there, but it's also just, it's too wacky and stupid for its own good. I don't know. It's supposed to be like making fun of 2001, but I don't know. It's weird. Bruce Dern. And then Assault on Precinct 13 in 1976. So that's kind of, to me, his first real, like, I'm John Carpenter, damn it. And then in 78, he does Halloween. In 78, he did Someone's Watching Me, a made-for-TV movie. And then Elvis, a made-for-TV movie. And then in 1980, he did The Fog, pretty damn awesome. 1981, Escape from New York, arguably my favorite Carpenter. The Thing, 1982, arguably my favorite Carpenter. That's why I say arguably first. Christine in 83, Starman in 84. Starman's a wild ride for Carpenter. If you appreciate Carpenter and you like the man, you can sort of feel Starman. He said he made Starman in as like a flip side of the coin to the Thing. The Thing is like about aliens invading Earth and killing everybody and being awful. So he wanted to make one about aliens coming to Earth and being like nice and being our friend. So it's a weird departure for him. And then in 86, he does Big Trouble in Little China, which I just watched on my channel the other night. Feel free to find that on the main page on Night Owl Movie Talks YouTube page. Big Trouble in Little China, maybe not my favorite, but it's up there. It's in the top like 4 or 5 for sure. Maybe 3 even. They Live, he did Prince of Darkness in 87. He makes a movie pretty much every damn year. He took 85 off. He does They Live in 88, and then Prince of Darkness in 87, They Live in 88. I'm not a big Prince of Darkness guy. A lot of people really like it. It's weird. Like, every time I watch it, I'm still not sure I even understand what's going on. They Live in 88, like I say, one of my favorites. Memoirs of an Invisible Man, maybe his worst movie. I don't know. Some folks say Ghost of Mars or Escape from LA, but maybe Memoirs of an Invisible Man is. It's pretty bad. The Body Bags mini trilogy, whatever, anthology movie. That was supposed to be a show on Showtime, and they made a pilot episode. And the pilot episode was 3 segments. One of them was directed by Tobe Hooper, I believe, or maybe 2 of them were, and one was directed by Carpenter, something like that. But there's a bunch of good ones. Might even be more than 3. I remember the Stacy Keach one, and the Mark Hamill one is really good. The David Carradine at the gas station is pretty damn good. But then he does my favorite underappreciated Carpenter is In the Mouth of Madness in 1994. It's so good. It's right up there with this. Like, it's the Stephen King books coming to life and going to basically Castle Rock and fighting these H.P. Lovecraft monsters, and Sam Neill, and anything he does, like, he always feels like he's losing his mind. He's got like that pale look about him. So In the Mouth of Madness is a secret Carpenter gem. I love it. Village of the Damned, not a fan. It's so heavy-handed. Christopher Reeve is not very good in it. Kirstie Alley, the little kids are creepy as hell and haunting. I would say the kids in this Village of the Damned are better than the original. There was an old black and white movie. It was a remake. But I like the modern-day updated albino kids, but the rest of it, the acting is just really bad and heavy-handed. And then Escape from LA, 1996, also very like self-referential, schlocky, like it's almost a comedy more than it is like Escape from New York is such a like gritty action movie, dark and scary and stuff, as where Escape from LA is like silly and pokes fun at like what a wacky place LA is to live. And then he did Vampires in 98. Once again, he's doing damn near a movie every year. Vampires I need to rewatch again. I've only seen it once, and I watched it right next to From Dusk Till Dawn, and it felt like the exact same movie. So I need to go back and watch Vampires again and really absorb it. Everybody tells me I would like that one. Ghosts of Mars, I will not go back and watch. Every time I've tried to watch it, it makes me upset. No, it's all right. I like Carpenter. I like Pam Grier. I like all the other people in it, Natasha Henstridge and stuff. But just Ice Cube, shout out to the Cube. But in general, no, I don't dig Ghosts of Mars. It's a hard watch for me. And then he worked on Masters of Horror. He was sort of the executive producer on that. Really good. Mick Garris was the executive producer, but Carpenter, contributed. He did 2 episodes early on, and I think he was like one of the overseers of it. And then he did The Ward in 2010, and that was his last major movie, a theatrical release. Then he did some music videos for his own band, and then in 2023 he released John Carpenter's Suburban Screams, which I believe is on Peacock. Perhaps it's 1 episode, but I think there's a series coming. I thought. And it's rated 4.7. So it's not even a 5 on IMDb. So people aren't feeling Suburban Screams. But anyways, yeah, let's see what we got with the Escape from New York. Ben, you my guy, you always got me. Yeah, like I say, most people say Halloween because that's the most famous one and what everybody associates with. The first one where he had his name above the title, But yeah, Escape from New York's my jam. Although Big Trouble in Little China is a close second. Yes, exactly. The Thing, nice. Yep. See, the ones I said arguably my favorite. Those are so hard to pick between. The Thing, Escape from New York, In the Mouth of Madness, They Live. That it's messed up that Carpenter's famous for Halloween, and it might not even crack my top 5. That's how good of a director he is. Well, night, kids. Super sleepy. Have fun with the movie and Jazzman Don. Take it easy, Echo, baby. Yeah, get some sleep, buddy. I appreciate you being here. Vampires is good. James Wood's a bit of a dick, though, and whatever Baldwin is in is just terrible. Yeah, see, that's the problem. I like James Woods, but he can also rub me the wrong way. He's like Diggstown is a perfect role for him. Even Videodrome, it's like I kind of not sure I even like the protagonist of our movie, right? I do got to take these off every now and then. Just watching everything through dark glasses is hurting my eyes. Roddy Piper was right. Good night, Echo. Yeah, Vampires. Oh, sorry. Vampires, I always keep thinking I need to go back and watch. It's a to-be regular. It's frequently on there. So here, Piper and David Keith have gone back. David, damn it, I'm going to do it every time. I see what I mean? I lose confidence when I say his name because I know if I get freewheeling, it's going to be the wrong name. But this is super funny. They're watching this closed circuit TV of this professor explaining, what the aliens are and stuff. And it looks like a total internet video. It's like some YouTube stuff. But Piper and Keith David are in the headquarters of the rebels where they make the glasses and stuff. And they're explaining yeah, these dudes the aliens have taken over a long time ago and we're here fighting them, yada, yada, yada. And the dude's explaining we're really, they treat us like pets, but really we're livestock, which kind of reminds me of V. If you ever saw V, Visitors, it was an old mini series in the 80s. I'm convinced that's where people got the idea for lizard people from. It was this cool mini series, and they made a V part 2, I think. And I think there was a TV show later also. But V was all about these aliens that landed, and they thought they were going to be like Starman aliens. They're like, hey, we're friends. We want to help you solve cold fusion and all this crap, right? But then after a while, you figure out they're basically just a metaphor for the Nazis. But instead of being evil racists, they're lizard people. So they come to Earth to cultivate the humans and capture them. I think they're also draining our water maybe as well, but that's a whole other thing. V has better acting than Village of the Damned. I will say that. I don't know why I'm so hard on Village of the Damned. Actually, I saw that in the theater. That's I wonder how many of those. I think most Carpenters I've seen in the theater. I don't know. I saw The Thing in the theater. I never saw Halloween. Escape from New York I saw on TV. In the Mouth of Madness, I rented, but then I watched on cable a million times, and then I bought the DVD cheap, and there's a good commentary track by Carpenter and stuff. So that DVD I watched over and over. It was one of those ugly snapper cases that are like slightly too big for your shelf, so they stick out. I hate the snapper case. So here we see this part where they're in the rebellion room, and it's like an old church or whatever, and everybody's explaining, what the resistance is going to do and all that. It reminds me a lot of Prince of Darkness. Like, I don't know, it seems like the same set or something. But now when they're learning about how the rebellion works and everything, Meg Foster shows up. She's like, my eyes needed to be in this scene. And they do. They made things interesting. I went to a con where Meg Foster was doing a meet and greet. Unfortunately, she's having mental issues. She couldn't remember a lot of things and had to be reminded of stuff. Oh, that's terrible. Like I mentioned before, I think I've been to 3 horror conventions in my life, and Meg Foster was at all of them. She's the same reason Rob Zombie uses her in all his movies. It's like she's just sort of an iconic person that you sort of recognize. It's, ooh, the Eye Lady. Jason mentioned earlier Leviathan. That was like a cable classic too. I remember her in that. But they're haunting. They're like teal. They're not blue. They're like sky blue or something. They like aquamarine. They're an oddball Crayola. But she's an interesting like co-love interest lead or whatever. She feels real. She isn't like kind of the buxom 80s lady. She's just kind of like a bit career businesswoman, but still like pretty and competent or whatever. Of course, she turns out to be evil, but that's irrelevant. Don't they all? So now we're back to the flare Nazis. They storm the good guys' rebellion church, the old cobblestone church, and they come breaking in with their flares, and it's all like pink lit behind them, and they come walking in with the riot gear, all extra scary. Have flair, well travel. But they are shooting the hell out of these rebels. And Meg Foster and Roddy Piper all escape. The Meg. Yeah. Is she in the Meg, or are you just calling her the Meg? Because both work. Yeah, the police do have these red flares. They must got a discount or something. Because every time hey, there's Ali Young. He was in Big Trouble in Little China the other night, as well as in... he's most famous as Chin or whatever his name is. I always forget what his name is. Indo, maybe? Indo, I think it is. The dude in Lethal Weapon who tortures Mel Gibson. At the time, he was evil and awful, and now we were like, yeah, get him, Indo. That was an interesting shot. They, Piper and Keith David, God damn it. Piper and Keith David are backing down an alley, and they're shooting their machine guns up at the ceiling and the ceiling, up at the roofs, and the bad guys are like leaning over and shooting. But neither Keith David or Piper has their glasses on. And when he looks up at one of the aliens shooting at him, first he sees the cop, but then we see the black and white version of him being an alien. I think they really wanted to just make sure the message of, they're not actually killing cops, they're killing these aliens, because nobody had the glasses on for that shot to exist. That felt like a studio edit choice. This is a cool shot too. This looks like to be a soundstage. It's like this alley with all this garbage in it, and the police are coming down it with all their red flare glory. And Piper and Keith David are hiding behind garbage cans. But the way it's set up, it looks like this is probably something on a back lot somewhere. There it is. They finally figured out how to make the watch work and open up one of those Mario Brothers portals. I always want a warp zone. Life would be so much better if I had a warp zone. Just was right in the hole. Cal always has interesting opinions. Cal, if you're still here, what's your favorite Carpenter? Oh, let's see here. Ben says Big Trouble in Little China. May says Prince Darkness or In the Mouth of Madness. See, you like Prince of Darkness. That's one, like I say, it's so confusing and convoluted to me, but then it feels like it's a spiritual connection to In the Mouth of Madness, which doesn't confuse me. So I think maybe I'm just dumb. That's probably the answer. Ghosts of Mars. That movie kicks ass. God damn it, Jason. How dare you? I don't know, man. Them zombies. And I thought like at a certain point, Carpenter quits using, I don't know if he quits using Dean Cundey or what the hell is, or if he just switches to digital early on or something. But every movie up through, oh God, let's find out. Every movie up through Village of the Damned, well, it starts to get sketchy. Around Village of the Damned, he's still using the same look to his films. They look like they're shot on film. They have like a warmth to the way they look. Everything's shot dark and with depth of lighting and stuff. But then Escape from LA, all of it looks like it's green screen, like it's really heavily overlit. Robert Rodriguez went through that. He went from like Desperado, but then when he started doing his other movies, they looked almost too fake and glossy because it was so much CGI. But then Vampires, I remember having that Carpenter look, that like warm Dean Cundey, Steven Spielberg look. You know, it looks like film. But then Ghosts of Mars and everything after that, I remember looking like digital. Too much clarity around the people or something. I don't know. It just didn't look like Carpenter movies. Part of the reason I love Escape from New York and The Thing so much is because of the way they look. They look better than modern movies. So now we're getting down to the end because Piper and Keith David are at the big banquet for the aliens, where it's like an awards banquet and everything. That's probably where they give out the gold watches that open up space and time. Anybody else worth breaking down here? Peter Jason, he's always in these movies. That's him talking there. Jason Robards the Third. Interesting. Yeah, all the rest of these people I'm familiar with by face, but not by name. You know, Norman Alden and stuff. And then I think that's probably how they kept the budget so low at $3 million. You know, they don't have a lot of big actors in it. This is rated 7.2 out of 10 on IMDb. I gave it a 9 out of 10. Like I said, it's damn near a perfect movie. It could be a little better, but I don't know where I would fix it. But almost 150,000, 146K on the reviews. So a lot of people have taken time to vote on this one. Rotten Tomatoes, it's an 80% for audience and 86% for the critics. Certified fresh. So, fans love it. And then Metacritic, it's a 55%. So that's It's currently playing free on Tubi. That's where I'm watching it. And we are at the 119.50 mark. So less than probably 15 minutes left. And they hit me with a commercial. Damn it, Tubi. Every time I sing your praises, you hit me with a commercial, you bastards. Let's see here. Cal says Halloween 2. I specifically asked Cal. Halloween 2, Body Bags, They Live. Never seen The Thing. Don't shame me. Oh no, The Thing's worth checking out, but yeah, I wouldn't shame that. Like I've said before, there's infinity movies that there's just stuff you can't ever see. I was explaining earlier on the chat. I watched Near Dark today for the first time ever, and there's plenty of my horror friend fans who would be like, "You've never seen Near Dark?" I was like, "Nah." I figured out why. It came out the same time as Lost Boys. So I got caught up in the Lost Boys wash, and I never saw Near Dark. But I watched it today. It's good. It's on Tubi for free. Let's see here. Halloween 2 wasn't him. Yeah, was that Nick Castle? Is that who did that one? I don't remember. Yo, Kal-El Daily. My guy, Ginge. That's King Jinja. Speaking of King Jinja, or King Ninja, go to, this was a short commercial. Remember my whole thing with the long commercials, short commercials? This was a shorty. Go to Jason, our friend's page. He is currently Horror YouTuber of the Month, which means he had to nominate 4 people to be Horror YouTuber of the Month. And one of his nominations is our dear friend Larry, the notorious HCD, Horror Cat Dad, my comrade on Into House and frequent watch parties. And when everything goes south, the couch I'm going to crash on. So shout out to Larry. Go vote for Larry on Jason's video. You'll see it's a picture of, oh goodness, who is it? Terrifier. It's Art the Clown. I was thinking it was Scream for a second. The thumbnail is a big picture of Art the Clown. You'll see it. It was, or you can watch last night's Room 237 stream. It's pinned to the top of the chat. I just watched Near Dark a year or two. Really good film, overhyped, a top 10 VAT film. Yeah, I was really enjoying it. I think I may do a watch along of it while it's on Tubi. For years, I never saw it, and then it became a cult classic. And when I wanted to find it, I either had to buy an overpriced special edition or wait for it to be somewhere where I could catch it. And it was always on the streaming sites I didn't have. It lived behind the Shudder paywall for a long time. And when I got Shudder, I specifically was waiting to watch Near Dark, and it was gone. I was like, wah, 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 sad trombone. He wrote it, correct? I count it. Oh, he counts it for writing. The Carpenter influence on Halloween 2 debate continues. So now here, Buck Flower, before he was like an old crazy bum when we thought he was part of the resistance and he was like the sad homeless man. But now he's got like a perfect toupee on. He's wearing a tuxedo and his hair is all like, the goatee's perfectly groomed. And he takes them down to where the control center is. And he's like, I'm glad you guys have joined the bad guys. You know what I mean? We're happy you're here. But it's really just an excuse to get Piper and David into the control room to start shooting everything up. Keith David doing a fashion no-no. Never took a sweatshirt or a sweater into pants, especially with a belt. It's a bad fashion look. But then again, I've never had to fight Roddy Piper in an alley. So, you know what I mean? That's probably just a good way to take care of yourself. So in the control center where they have all the like transmissions where they're playing the like, obey, reproduce, all that stuff. They also have the news. So they're there watching the news being made. Cable channel 54. Yeah, all the aliens are crazy. Okay, so now the Piper and Keith David have pulled out their guns and they're just shooting everybody. Yeah, this is where it gets like full on Matrix here at the end. Like our heroes basically figured everything out and they just are going to solve this problem with shooting everything up. The Matrix, like I said, I think it took from this, but I also think it took obviously from the Terminator films. The Matrix kind of did a modern day version of Star Wars. You just go through and find everything you like and cobble together your version of that story. Even the machine guns in the sequels, those like loader suits, they look just like the loading suits from Aliens. Power loader, I believe is the correct term. Top 3 horror directors. That's a toughie. I don't know if I've ever broken them down. Probably all the big names, I would guess. Carpenter, Wes Craven. Oh boy, who else? I don't know. That's a toughie. Top 3 is really hard because trying to narrow down who else I would include in there. Like, is Hitchcock a horror director? I think he's a suspense director, but he did Psycho and The Birds and stuff. So I don't know. I may have to ponder that one because Sam Raimi's in there. Sam Raimi's probably maybe Carpenter, Raimi, Craven. I don't know. I would have to really go through and think about what my favorite horror movies are and who directed them. But yeah, I'd probably go Raimi, Carpenter, or Carpenter, Raimi, Craven. Right for right now. I reserve the right. I put a big asterisk in that to reserve the right to change my opinion at any moment. So now it's an alien massacre. They're just kicking down doors. It's a Chuck Norris movie. They've shot everybody. And everybody they didn't shoot is hiding. And somewhere along the line, Piper picked up a what do you call it? A Long John shirt. I think a Henley is the kind with the buttons, but you know what I mean? The Long John material. Somewhere he picked one up because the whole movie he didn't have one. But now that he's in this, the base underneath there, the broadcast place, he's got a Long John's underneath his flannel. Continuity error, or is he just trying to stay warm? The Matrix and the Terminator from the same source material. Yeah, that's what I would figure. I think there wasn't there a book that somebody stole it from, or an old screenplay or whatever. Wes Holland, Juan, Savage Steve Holland, or is it Tom Holland? James Wan. Yeah, I don't know. James Wan's in the running. I don't know if he cracks my top 3, but I could definitely see him in the top 5. He's pretty damn good. I think his legacy is still yet to be determined. I don't know if I would call Shyamalan a horror director. I would think he'd also be like a thriller or a suspense director. But for as much crap as he takes, I always enjoy a good Shyamalan movie. Same thing with this. They're miniature versions of the Twilight Zone. Like everything he does is just like sort of a Twilight Zone episode. And that's my favorite part of this. So Piper and Keith David are walking down the hallway just shooting away at the aliens, and we're working our way towards the end. I think there's roughly 8 minutes left. So we come down to the classic scene where it leaves on a funny button. Like the lady's riding the dude in bed, and then he turns off the thing that disguises everybody's faces so you can see who is actually an alien. Like he basically frees everybody from being able to see, or whatever the cloaking device is that's making the people hide from them. They turn it off and reveal them, right? So like there's a part where this woman's riding this dude in bed, and she sees the alien guy she's riding or whatever. But it's a funny button. I like how they stumble in the middle of their executing everybody thing, their workplace shooting scenario here. They stumble onto Meg Foster. They're like, "Oh, hey, come on." You don't think it's suspicious she was here? Juan is so creative is one that keeps me surprised in this era. Craven is creative. Carpenter, Craven, Cronenberg, the 3 C's. Yeah, Cronenberg is hard not to ignore as well. The Fly and everything. Dead Zone. I love the Dead Zone. So I don't know. Craven and Cronenberg, because Raimi and Carpenter are for sure in the top 2. Because I love just anything Sam Raimi does. His masterful use of the camera and the editing and the trick shots. Like everything's like a visual feast. But Craven has schlocky stuff, so I could see Cronenberg knocking Craven off my list. But obviously, the original Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream kind of cement you in place of being an all-time. No matter if he did nothing else good, those 2 would lock it up for you. But then, some of the other stuff he did, Deadly Friend and Serpent in the Rainbow, People Under the Stairs, he's got a bunch of like kind of second tier faves. But then again, I can also add Argento, Romero, and Hooper. Yeah, see, George Romero's another one I could forget too. Toby Hooper. Toby Hooper, not as much. I mean, he's good, but obviously Texas Chainsaw and Poltergeist and some of the other things he's done. He's definitely in the Hall of Fame. I don't know if he's in my top 3. 3 is really hard. But Argento, I'm not as big into giallo as everybody else, or whatever. Italian horror. I don't know if that's technically giallo. I don't think it is. But like Suspiria is masterful, and a bunch of other stuff he's done is just masterful. But in general, I never get excited to watch an Argento movie. It's always just something that I watch because I feel like it's almost like homework. As where Raimi, like I'm excited to be like, what's he going to do this time? So there, Piper blows up the big, hell no. He blows up the big satellite dish, and he's got this little teeny gun, this little like Derringer, looks like a cigarette lighter or something. But we see the big Cable 54 satellite dish explode, and as Rowdy Piper, our hero's dying. That's a dramatic move for this too, to have the hero of the movie die, at the end. It's a real like Rogue One sitch. I'm sure they could retcon it for hell yeah. And then in his dying breath, he gives the aliens the middle finger as he's fish. Awesome. I forgot about that. And then now the world is able to see the aliens as they are because they've blown up the cloaking device. And one of the dudes on the news was, "Man, Gloria, you look like shit." And all the people in the bar realize the dude sitting next to him is an alien. Yeah, their faces are so distinctive with those big like metal eyeballs and like the like skull face. So here's old girl riding dude. There's your gratuitous boob shot. It helps. And then she looks down at the guy she's riding, and she goes, "Hey, what's wrong, baby?" Awesome. Let me see what else we got here. See what the folks in the chat are talking about. Before I do, let me get you guys queued up here. My favorite game of also recommends. If you like They Live, they also recommend Night of the Comet, Idiocracy. That's funny. Tubi understands me. They understand. The Terminator, that naturally. The Fifth Element, I could see that, especially with like the consumerism, future world or whatever. Invaders from Mars. Was that Tobe Hooper? The Arrival with Charlie Sheen, I'm thinking. Yeah, 1996. That's the Charlie Sheen one. So that makes sense. It's even about aliens and satellite dishes and stuff. Critters from 1986. Yeah, I could see that. Also because of the year. Chud. I look for an excuse to watch Chud. But no, I don't know. Well, I guess. Because, yeah, it's got that whole like mystery plot at the end where it's revealed what the Chuds are and stuff. So that's a little bit of the same kind of Twilight Zone episode feel. But a different movie. Hell Comes to Frogtown. So if you're wondering, Hell Comes to Frogtown is currently on Tubi. That's an hour and 27 minutes. And Logan's Run, the old 1976 one. I guess that's kind of the same deal. I mean, the Logan's Run, people get to a certain age and they kill them. So this one dude tries to escape to getting killed at the age when you're supposed to die. At the age of 30, they kill you off, but dude tries to escape. So anyways, that was John Carpenter's They Live. It's pretty damn awesome. Let's go back to the folks we were talking about here. James, it's a hard question because Hitchcock and Fede Alvarez are awesome too. So many, really. Ginge Ninja. The way you grumble over my comment. Which comment? Craven is number one. No way. Cal Daly, you newer Flanagan, Fede Alvarez, Peele. Yeah. Flanagan, especially, we were talking about him last night with Room 237. Like he's kind of the modern Stephen King master or whatever. That's what he's being associated with, I guess. Deadly Friend and People are awesome. Yeah, I enjoy both of those. Like I say, Scream and The First Nightmare are so iconic, like Mount Rushmore First Ballot Hall of Fame horror movies. Like they're icons. They, they're things that you buy Halloween masks of and stuff, right? So the other stuff, the second tier, a lot of his things I like, but they're acquired taste, like cult classic type deals. Us was such a good movie. I really liked Us too. Us was creepy as hell, man. It kind of disturbed me a little bit. The plot about hands across the world and the people who live underneath all that I didn't dig, but the idea of looking outside and seeing that there's some crazy people out there and you get a better look at them and it's me, like, oh shit. Right, that's a creepy, also Twilight Zone-y type thing, but so really good. Nope was good, but very odd. Yeah, Nope is once again referring to my Room 237 stream. That's a movie that can be deciphered. Like there's things in there that you need to look at and think, okay, what does the eye in the sky mean? There's another Eye in the Sky movie. We were talking about those earlier. What does the spaceship, the horse, the kid actors, like there's themes in there that mean more than they mean within the movie. And like, that's one of those you have to watch and then go watch the Nope explained videos or, some dude giving a dissertation of what everything represents and how it's all about people's childhoods or whatever. Sam is cool. Darkman, Spider-Man, Evil Dead. Boy, I got range. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, Evil Dead. It's almost like with the Craven thing. With the once you make Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, you're kind of godfathered into being like just a master of horror. But then he did a lot of also like turns up in other people's horror stuff and stuff like Drag Me to Hell, which would be second tier Raimi, is still a really damn good movie. Jinju was shot really well, but didn't care for her to get out of the top 15 in the last 20 years, in my opinion. Idiocracy is great, based on a true story. Exactly. Invaders was Tobe Hooper. Okay, yeah, the remake or whatever. I think it was. Didn't they make an old school one, a black and white one too? Maybe, I don't remember. But I just remember the when I was a kid, they had that one with that kid who looked like Danny Madigan from Last Action Hero. Night of the Comet watched last year, first time, such a cool one. Yeah, that's a super cool one. That's another one like They Live that was just always on cable in the middle of the night. So I watched the hell out of it. It was like part Valley Girl movie, part like post-apocalyptic zombie thing or whatever. But that's another one that knows who the B movie stars are. So it's like, let's get what's his name? Jeffrey Lewis, Juliette Lewis's dad. He's in there. Those two girls, the stars of them, they're like in all the conventions we were talking about earlier with Meg Foster and stuff. The two girls who are the sisters in Night of the Comet, you see them all the time. But yes, I recommend Night of the Comet. It's fun. That's one a good horror movie for women. Like if you like, you want something that feels like it was made for women, where women aren't idiots. Like that's a good one. Love Chud. Yeah, I agreed. I watched Chud on my channel once before already. I've done, I don't know how many, 50 or 60 of these, and like Chud was one I had to do. I was like, yeah, I love cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers. But really, it's caution, hazardous underground disposal. Non-invaders from Mars was Hooper. Thoughts on Clive? Oh, Clive Barker. Yeah, there you go. There's another one you can throw in. That's what I mean. There's so many good ones that it's easy to forget. Clive Barker, he's tough because I'm not as big of a fan, but I respect the hell out of him. Like Hellraiser is scary and creepy and gross. And even now I feel like I need a shower after I watch Hellraiser. But like some of his other stuff, like did he direct Candyman or he's produced it? The original. I think he directed it, right? The Cabrini Green one with Virginia Madsen and Tony Todd. But yeah, I Clive in general, what is it? Nightbreed. And I'm sure I'm thinking of some other Clives that I did enjoy. But yeah, I like Clive. He's what about Lord of Illusions? Is that what it's called? Where the dude throws up fire. That's a memorable ass scene. Adam Green, Frozen, Hatchet series needs more to be great. Yeah, I also did a review of watch along of Frozen. We got snowed in one day here, so I had to watch the good Frozen, not the fake Pixar bullshit. But Frozen in particular is really done well. That's a very cheaply made movie where they get a lot out of it. You know, you stick two people up on a chair or three people up on a chair and just drop fake snow on them and just let the craziness begin. Makes you really afraid of wolves, right? Hills Have Eyes. Yeah, I guess that's also another Craven masterpiece. Not a lot of Hills Have Eyes Halloween costumes, but that Michael Berryman image on the poster is kind of, famous as famous can be, right? The remake. Oh, there you go. There's another guy who could probably be in the, top 10 or whatever. The Alexander Aja. He did High Tension. What's it else it called? It has like the dumbest alternate name. It's like Switchblade Mama or some shit. High Tension is a very good name for that movie. Haute Tension or whatever it is in French. Yeah, that's a winner. But then he also did the remake. And then I think he did Piranha, the remake, the Jerry O'Connell one. That's a good boob-tastic movie for the professor if he's watching this later. But he also did, I watched a movie the other day called The Pyramid, I think. And it's like a bunch of people in Egypt uncover a pyramid buried under the sand, and they go into it. And it's this whole thing about like these, the old cats that are drawn on hieroglyphics and stuff. They're like monsters. And there's a whole thing with the doghead man, the Anubis. And like they weigh out each other, weighing out the souls, and like people are getting killed off in this pyramid. And I'm like, this is fascinating and crazy. And sure enough, produced by Alexander Aja. I was like, oh, there you go. Some people would say Eli Roth is in the modern horror people. Rob Zombie's my boy, but I would not put him in there. He's second tier. He's a name more than he's actually a talent. But the remake is fire. Yeah, that scene in the remake where the mutant holds the gun on the new mother's baby while he suckles at her boob. That, like, even now you can see him like, that just is, that's a traumatic ass horror movie scene right there. That's well beyond torture or horror or killing, but it's also just terrifying and like makes you just High Tension crazy. Yeah, I dig High Tension. That it's one of those you can't really talk about. It's like Fight Club. You can't talk about Fight Club. But yeah, I recommend people see High Tension, especially if they can deal with subtitles. Actually, I think that one even has a decent overdub. But yeah, I dug it. Slumber Party for the Booba. Sorry, I mean sorority house. All those 80 movies. I keep trying to think that another director is going to pop into my mind. Jason really got me with Cronenberg, and then Cal's contribution of Juan, because Juan's a tough one because I think of him as not as a master, but mainly just because he's new. But when you look at his resume, yeah, he's up there as a modern master for sure. Especially when you go through and you think of what it would take to be considered top tier horror, master. You have to have a few iconic hits, like stuff that would be on a T-shirt or they would make NECA figures of or whatever, right? Like the elevated stature of whatever they do has to be kind of an entry point. Like that's one of the reasons Flanagan I don't know about. He's done so many good ones, but I don't know if, like, my favorite Flanagan one is what's that Stephen King story where Carla Gugino is strapped to the bed and then she has to chew her arm off or whatever? Gerald's Game. There you go. I knew I would remember it. Netflix has all sorts of good ones. What's it called? 1912, I think it is, with Thomas Jane. Is that a Flanagan? Maybe he's good. Eli Roth. Yeah, like I said, maybe Roth. Robbie Dope. Yeah, I'll be slighting him. Well, I like his style, especially Devil's Rejects. I think he started to figure out his style with House of a Thousand Corpses, and then when he did Devil's Rejects, he was kind of at his peak. But then when he gets to like 31 in Salem, Lords of Salem, and I forget about those Halloween movies. I sort of forgive him for them. It's like if somebody came to me and they're like, "You want to direct a Halloween movie?" And I'm like, "Not really." And they're like, "Well, we're going to pay you a bunch of money, and if we don't pay you, we're going to pay somebody else. Do you want to do a Halloween movie?" It's like, yeah, please. Let me do a Halloween movie. Eli Roth, Lucio Fulci, Stuart Gordon. Yeah, Gordon, I mean, Reanimator, but after that, I don't know. Toby Hooper also did Life Force, though, too, because I sort of slighted him earlier. I said he was just Texas Chainsaw and Poltergeist, but yeah, Life Force as well. Yeah, this is a tough debate. That's why I said the top three. When Cal narrowed it down to just three, that was almost impossible. That's a toughie. I hated Rob for the last two or three, but I love his first three or four, so that I'm willing to give whatever he makes a chance. That's the thing. I liked his music, and I liked House of a Thousand Corpses, and I liked Devil's Rejects, but then after, I still haven't seen Three from Hell. I think it's on like Freevee or one of them now. I'll have to get to it. That was another one that was trapped behind the Shudder or one of them horror channel paywalls, and I never got around to it. So now that it's floating around for free, I'll check it out. Hooper made Salem's Lot. Oh, there you go. Exactly. That was, a lot of people say that. We were talking about King adaptations last night. A lot of people say the Hooper adaptation of Salem's Lot is one of King's best. The whole Nosferatu devil thing, or vampire thing in the windows or whatever. I don't know. Salem's Lot it falls into miniseries problem though, right? Like where they don't have the budget. Like I was complaining about It last night. I feel like the original miniseries, it does struggle with, Tim Curry is amazing and scary as hell, but it just doesn't have the money to pay off any of that stuff at the end in the sewers, and a lot of the actors are TV actors. Like I love Venus Flytrap and I love John Boy, but what's her name? Lana Lane from the Superman movie. Like they're all really cool actors, and as soon as I see them, I'm excited to see them, but the performances they give is very kind of stilted. You could also say it's like Nightmare on Elm Street, though. Like a lot of people say It was actually stolen from Nightmare on Elm Street. Quentin Tarantino flat out accuses King of stealing the concept of Freddy Krueger for Pennywise. But you can say that It miniseries is very much like the first Nightmare on Elm Street, where it feels like you're in a dream. Everybody's bad acting sort of makes sense. Like, I don't know. Depends how much leeway you want to give it because you love it. Halloween 1, Rob Zombie is awesome. 2 is the worst. I enjoyed 1 because it was interesting to see, but it falls into the Phantom Menace or Star Wars prequel trap, where it's like we kind of don't even care what Hitler's motivations are. Like I thought Michael Myers was scary when we didn't see what made him behave that way. So to see it's like, oh, he comes from an abusive family and his mom's a stripper who's never home and all that, you know what I mean? All this. Although she seems like a good mom, even though they kind of paint her in a weird light. A red light with that ass shaking. No, I think that the first one is an interesting study of Michael Myers, and there's some cool stuff in there. But the second one, it's got interesting things, but it's just so weird. Like there's also the whole thing with the white horse taken off to heaven or whatever that's supposed to be. It's, I don't know, strange, man, strange. Hooper is more perfect timing, but his work up against Wes or JP is not the same. Yeah, I mean, Texas Chainsaw is iconic. That's a Halloween costume, Leatherface. But Poltergeist to me is like I love Poltergeist. I saw that at just the right age. It scared the hell out of me. Poltergeist might be my favorite, like consistently scary horror trilogy. Like I find all three scary in their own way. They all make me, they unnerve me. Although I don't think he did 2 or 3. James Whale, Frankenstein, Brown. Oh yeah, James Whale, that's classic. Go see, there's Ben going back to the old times, the good stuff. Yeah, you could also say More Now, right? Who else am I forgetting from the old school black and whites? James Powell directed Peeping Tom. A lot of people say that's the first slasher movie, that or Psycho. That's what they often say. Peeping Tom's deep. It's about a guy who's a movie maker, like a frustrated filmmaker, and he's got a camera that's got a knife on the end. So he like makes snuff films. He like videotapes records the people as he kills them. So it's like kind of this, I don't know, it speaks a lot about the filmmaking process and directing. Like there's all sorts of crazy subtext in it, but he's, arguably a Hall of Famer just for that. Norma Bates, right, from Sister, Lana Lane, Jack Tripper, awesome flick. Yeah, the cast of it. Yeah, that's what I mean. They just didn't have the money though. Like I think that's why I enjoyed the new one more. Is it got the big Hollywood treatment? What is dude's name? Why am I drawing a blank on it? I just thought of it the other day. Chapter 2. Andy Muschietti, thank you. I forgot his damn name. That's the guy that directed the Flash movie. He got caught in the classic Hollywood okey doke where he made the It movies, and they made $1 bajillion like that. That first one, I think, is the It Part 1, I think, is the highest grossing horror movie of all time at the box office, or at least it was at one point. I don't know if they adjust for inflation and say that, The Exorcist is or whatever, but in general, yeah, I believe that because of money wise, that the It Part 1 was the most money maker. So as soon as he did that, they gave him the Flash movie, and yeah, it went downhill after that. I don't know. Anyway, so I need to rewatch H2. Maybe I won't hate it. It's got weird artistic symbolism stuff in there, but I don't know. It's very heavy for a Halloween movie. Although Halloween 2 does, the Rob Zombie Halloween 2, I will give it this. One of my complaints about horror movies, in particular the sequels, is they never cover the what happens aftermath. Like I like Halloween 2 because it picks right up after Halloween 1 and it goes to the hospital with her, right? Like that's what would happen after you were attacked by Michael Myers. You would have to go spend the night in the hospital. So I often think like when people are in horror movies, like in The Descent or Texas Chainsaw or whatever, and they escape with their lives, they've been chased and battered and they're all cut up and all their friends are dead and they're traumatized and shit. How long before they have to go back to work? Like, do they go back to work on Thursday? 4 days off is all I need to recover from that mental trauma. Because in a lot of movies, they're like, the next time we catch up with the hero of the movie, they're like in a mental home or something, right? So Halloween 2, H2, whatever you want to call it, the Rob Zombie one, it picks up with the trauma of like Scout Taylor Thompson Taylor Scout, whatever her name is. Put it in the right order, and you know what I mean. But like Danielle Harris's character, she's like super traumatized after surviving Michael Myers' attack, and like because her family's dead, Laurie Strode has to go live with the sheriff's family because like that would have to happen after a Halloween movie. Somebody's family's dead. Who do those little kids go live with now, right? Like all that stuff that horror movies never touch on, the ripple effect afterwards. So H2 does do a good job of that, like the trauma and grief of the people who survived Part 1. But I believe they show his face, and that pissed a lot of people off. Or he talks. That's what it is. Michael Myers talks at some point, and that pissed a lot of people off. She Was Fine. Is that Lana Lane, maybe? I need to rewatch 2. Maybe I won't hate it. Texas Chainsaw Maid, one of the most overrated slasher for me. Hot take 03 is far better. Ooh, that is a hot take. But see, the reason Texas Chainsaw is amazing is because it's one of the first. It's not found footage, but it kind of is. Like, it sort of portrays itself as found footage, even though there's no camera there or whatever. It feels like a documentary. And because it's shot on 16 millimeter, it uses the aesthetic of cheap filmmaking to feel grainy and bloody and gross. And it's the first, well, there's a lot of movies with blood in it, especially in the 60s, that Technicolor red blood. But by the time Texas Chainsaw happens, it just really knows how to pour on the gore and the cutting into flesh and all that. It sets the tone for a lot of the stuff that comes in the 80s. And it also kind of goes with the old Strangers approach, where it's like, we don't really know why Leatherface and them are like that. By part 2, we do. They're making chili, but Psycho. You calling me one? 3 movies that was hated that you stand up for. Oh, I stand up for all sorts of awful movies. Like I say, I defend M. Night Shyamalan movies. What else? Like I said, with Carpenter, In the Mouth of Madness, I think, is one of his best, and that's often a swept under the rug Carpenter. You know what I love is the Feast series. I saw they were on Tubi. I think I might have to watch those with you guys. They're a super low budget direct-to-video. They're a result of Project Greenlight, if you're familiar with that, is the reality show. Season 3, maybe? I think Wes Craven produced that one. A horror movie is made out of that, and it's like a I don't know, hilarious horror movie. And then they made sequels 2 and 3, and they're even funnier. It's a wild ride, the Feast films. I recommend them. That's one that not a lot of people talk about. I prefer Feast over Hatchet. I never really dug the Hatchet movies. I think Leslie Vernon is better than the Hatchet movies. Yikes. Don loves the details. I do love the details. Cherry Moon? Maximum Overdrive? Yeah. Never seen Ginge. Is it good? Maximum Overdrive? Oh, yeah, it's fantastic. Actually, it's an acquired taste. I love it. There's one that I cape for that other people hate, as to your question. Good answer, Ginger. Yeah, Maximum Overdrive, a lot of people dislike. It's really a version of Night of the Living Dead. It's a comet passes over Earth, and all the robots come to life. All the machines come to life and attack us. So instead of the dead rising from the ground, the robots all come to life. It's also a version of The Birds. Like, one day we wake up and the birds are attacking us. Like, one day we wake up and our toasters are attacking us. So to me, I dig it on that level. But as far as a classic movie, it's got really good cast. AC/DC soundtrack, that's crazy, wild. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon involved with Project Greenlight. Yeah, they did they do all of them, but I believe on season 3 they decided the best way to try to make money off a Project Greenlight movie was to do a genre picture, and they did a horror one. And I believe Wes Craven was the other producer they brought on to give it horror cred. They picked, if you know who Clu Gulager is from, Return of the Living Dead? He's in a bunch of horror movies, Clu Gulager. His son wins season 3, and he's the director of Feast 1, 2, and 3. So shout out to whatever Gulager's name is. He did a couple other movies, too, that were relatively big. Got to watch those Feast. Yeah, I know part 1 for sure is on Tubi. I think 2 and 3 might be as well. There's like midget or little people luchadors in there that only speak Spanish, and they're fighting the monsters. It gets way out of control. At one point, an alien humps a woman's face, and like she's just a lot going on in Feast, but it's fun. It's fun. Warlock 2 is a good one. Wishmaster 2, I also think they're scoffed at. Yeah, my boy Larry loves him some Warlock movies, even 2. The Wishmasters, I enjoy them. The Djinns, since Ginger Ninja's here, the Djinns. All right, it's 3:30 in the morning my time, 4:30 Eastern. So we have been up late, although whenever I'm getting ready to shut her down, folks start coming in. So hello to all of you who came in now. I appreciate it. We're just wrapping up watching John Carpenter's awesome They Live. I love me some They Live. Thank you for joining me. If you need more of me talking about John Carpenter, you can watch me talk about Big Trouble in Little China. It's on my page right now. It's probably in the recommended videos on this thing. But thanks so much to all of you, Kal-El, Ginger Ninja, Ben Grimm, Half Cheeto Will Travel, Echo, Gareth, Video Tasties was here, Lamonia Demonia, Live Style Rewind. Look at me doing off this dome, man. That's how much I love you all. But yeah, I need to take my silly ass to bed. So thank you so much for joining me for another one of these long, rambling, more than 2-hour streams. I wish you the best and nothing but green grass and high tides forever. Good night, my friends.